Greg, how you doing today, man?
I'm good. Thank you for having me on.
Likewise. Yeah, we'll pass the mic back and forth. It's a little awkward, but yeah, it's like a ceremony. Pleasure to have you on and take the time to do the conversation and the interview. Would love to learn a little bit more about yourself and M0 Labs and what you guys are kind of working on. But to kick it off, tell us about your story, your background. How did you get into the Web3 space?
Yeah, sure. So I have been here longer than most people, unfortunately. If you can't see the bags under my eyes yet, I originally got interested in Bitcoin in 2010 when I was still in college, and just an enthusiast. I didn't really have anything to contribute at the time besides liking it. I promptly forgot about it when I graduated college because I became a commodity futures trader and I was really focused on doing that for a while. But in 2016, my boss and I jumped full time into the crypto space to try and start the first Ether ETF. And you probably, if you remember this period of time, the Winklevoss twins had just tried to launch their Bitcoin ETF, and we thought they were going to be successful. So we were like, all right, let's do an Ether ETF. We'll follow on their coattails. And yeah, they were not successful. Took them about 9 more years, I think. So we dropped that several years in. But in the process, we started one of the first crypto venture funds. That was called Distributed Capital Partners. Still exists. It's just kind of a holdco now. But we did have external capital back in 2016, 2017. And our core portfolio investment was a company called MakerDAO. And they were just getting started. There was a bunch of guys in a chat room building software. They didn't have entities or anything. So when we invested in them, we started helping them build up some infrastructure around the project. And then when we decided to cash out our LPs, we said, we love this project. We really believe in the vision. Why don't we go in and just work there full time for a while? So I became Maker's head of business development. I did that for about 4.5 years. My business partner became the head of trading. We worked together to grow the DAI ecosystem. Then in 2021, the Maker Foundation wound down. I left Maker and started a couple new companies. One of those was called RWA Co., and that was helping commercial banks onboard into Maker, which is where I met my co-founder of M0, Luca. And we realized that we kind of had all the vision and the pieces to do this ourselves. So why build in someone else's ecosystem when we could build it, from the ground up from first principles?
Excellent, man. Seems like you've been doing a lot in the space, quite busy. So with M0 Labs, you and your co-founder, what was kind of the initial inspiration for it? Like, what's the ethos or the mission behind what you want to do with M0?
Yeah, we started off actually very unopinionated. So we said, we know that issuing a stablecoin is very hard. And it takes a lot of overhead and infrastructure. But actually, if you look at these monolithic companies issuing stablecoins like USDC or USDT, they're doing a lot of different things. And it's kind of surprising that they'd be good at all of them. So you have to do reserving. You have to have licenses. You have to have lawyers. You have to have compliance. You have to have distribution. You have to have market makers. You have to have marketing. Like, you have to have a brand. You have customers. So like, there's a lot of different things in there. And it never really made sense to us that they were part of the same vertical stack. So we said, what if we just started by building a very unopinionated protocol that was able to break this stack down into its different components. So the M0 protocol can really be thought of almost like an hourglass that funnels a multitude of issuers up top down to a multitude of distributors on the bottom using a wholesale stablecoin called M in the middle. So I guess our core idea here was like complexity abstraction. We wanted to take the complexity of issuance away from distributors of stablecoins, and we wanted to take the complexity of distribution away from the issuers of stablecoins. And I'll just give you a little preview of how the protocol works. So you have these issuers that sit up top. They put reserves into special vehicles. So they put T-bills into SPVs. They're able then to generate a stable coin called M against those T-bills. Now, nobody touches M. That's only for our integrators. Think of it like a wholesale asset. Down in the distribution layer, the distributors will wrap M in their own feature set. They'll control the compliance. They'll control the contracts. They'll control the way yield flows through their protocol. And they don't have to worry about issuance. So everything is intermediated by this ERC20 token called M.
Interesting. Do you cater to a specific type of clientele or person or company that is looking to do a stable coin? Like, who is this meant for?
We actually debated this quite a bit yesterday because there's not a good word to describe it yet. So the market likes to peg us as being crypto native. I don't think that's the right phrasing, because when I think of crypto native, I think of like pure protocols like Uniswap or something that's not our core market. Like we are, if you think of the market as a spectrum from TradFi to like the most DeFi native protocols out there, we're definitely like past the halfway point towards DeFi native, but we still have a lot of interfaces with the real world because we are doing stablecoins. There has to be fiat connections, things like that. So I would say our core customers are generally wallets and applications on a variety of different blockchains that are in some way using a stablecoin in their flows. So maybe they're crypto forward more so than crypto native.
I want to ask you about yield-bearing stablecoins in the space because it seems to be pretty popular. Obviously, Circle just had their IPO. PayPal has a stablecoin. Bank of America announced a stablecoin. JP Morgan Chase. Like the trend is going now. And there seems to be quite a demand for the yield-bearing side of it so that they can, justify holding it even more. Curious, like what thoughts maybe you have on the trajectory of that in the space, and it feels like we're kind of in like a stablecoin summer. It's kind of taken over the narrative. Any thoughts on that?
It's going to be difficult to have a stablecoin that gives yield to a retail holder, kind of like the way that a savings account would pay yield to a holder of the savings assets. I think more what you're going to see is the distributor relationship model, which is what we do, where we don't ever pass yield onto the end holders of our extensions. We just pass the yield to the distributors of the tokens. And this is like a very common model. So this is what Coinbase does with Circle. Circle pays Coinbase a distribution fee, and then Coinbase pays their users who hold USDC a discretionary fee on top of that. But from Circle's perspective, which is kind of the approximate to us in this example, they are just paying a distribution fee. And I think you're going to see this across the board. And then in some ways, it's actually a good thing, because if you were able to just pass yield directly to the end user without any sort of creativity, then we're just going to end up with a bunch of yield-bearing stablecoins that look like savings accounts. This actually might help proliferate the product in the industry, because you might see people saying, all right, I want to keep the yield for myself as a distributor, but I do want to convert my users' value into goods and services. So maybe in the future, instead of having a branded credit card, you have a branded stablecoin, and that stablecoin lets you earn points that you can spend at your favorite store or something like that. Just one way it could play out, right? And yeah, I mean, I don't see the savings account as a product happening anytime soon, because the Genius Act just expressly prohibits it. So we have to comply.
Do you have any use cases in terms of maybe some clients you've taken on or stablecoins that have been built that you can highlight as like a good example of like kind of M0 Labs in motion or kind of in action?
Yeah. So again, we call our downstream customer the center of our universe. We call them extensions. And we call them that because they're taking M, or wholesale asset, and they're wrapping it into their own feature set. So we have a few extensions live today. The largest one is a company called Noble. So they are the preeminent stablecoin distributor to the Cosmos ecosystem. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Cosmos, the blockchain network. So they started by distributing USDC to Cosmos applications. They said, wait a minute, we're giving all of our economics to Circle. What if we had our own branded stablecoin and we were able to push that downstream to the applications building on Cosmos? So now they're doing that. They have USDN, and USDN just crossed $100 million in TVL. It's still growing quite quickly. And now they're starting to do integrations with downstream applications where they then take a similar model to us, where they'll pass the distribution fee even a layer further. There's a project called USDHL. So this is a hyperliquid stablecoin that we built. And this is being built by a team called Felix. And what they're doing is they're saying right now there's $1 billion or something of USDC sitting on hyperliquid. And once again, it's going back to that common denominator of like, your margin is my opportunity. So USDC is just kind of taking advantage of all its customers, right? They're keeping everything for themselves, and they're just giving them liquidity. We give them liquidity too. So we provide liquidity, that's table stakes. But then in addition to the liquidity, we will pass them their share of the yield that they're earning. And from there, they're actually taking that yield and they're using it to rebuy hype tokens. So they're an ecosystem aligned stablecoin. And the hope here is that they'll eventually become perp collateral on the DEX. And then one more that I think is cool. This is launching, I think, in July. It's a project called Cast. They have a booth here. They are a neobank in your pocket. Like, they will just give you a savings account in stablecoins. I don't know if that's available to US users, but I do know that they'll if you're out of the country, they'll let you earn yield on a savings account. And from there, they issue credit cards that you can go spend that account down by. So really, like from my perspective, it's a better product than a bank, right? I can get the same credit card through the same, I think it's Visa, and it is Visa, and then it spends my account down. And when I use the card, instead of earning points in the network, I earn CAS tokens. So it's also like an interesting way to get more involved with a project that you support and potentially get upside that's well in excess of the 2% cash back you normally get.
Are you exploring some of that stuff here at Permissionless as well? Or like what's kind of your goal being here? Are you looking for more partners? Are you looking for companies to work with, just spreading the good word? What's the objective?
Yeah, we're really ready to scale up. So we have, like I said, I think we have 5 extensions live today. We have something like 30 in the pipeline, but our framework is completely extensible and is soon going to be self-serve. So basically, we built this pre-audited code, pre-tested, that anybody can come and deploy and just use it out of the box. So think of it like a stablecoin in a box. You're a new application, you're trying to build something interesting. You want to have a stablecoin in your flows. We will give you a liquidity endpoint that you can integrate. So liquidity is on par with what you can get from USDC. And then we'll give you audited extension codes so that you can just get up and running instantaneously. So yeah, we're looking for people to reach out, to come integrate, and to try our product.
Awesome. So if there's people that want to have their own stablecoin, they want to work with you guys, they want to get in touch, what's the best way to do that?
Well, so if they just go to m0.org, there's an outreach form. We check it every day. We're not like one of those companies that just lets it go on forever. Like, we will look at it. And then also on Twitter, we're M0. So just M0. Yeah, either way is great to reach out. And also, like, we're here, we're at the conference. If anybody's listening to this while they're at the conference, then just come walk up to us. We've got our M0 name tags on.
Awesome, man. Want to do a quick little rapid fire session just for fun, a couple quick questions, and you can give me a kind of quick response back. Do you have a favorite Web3 project, startup company that you think is doing some great stuff in the space, other than you guys, that you want to highlight?
Yeah, I mean, I got to throw it out to our customers again, right? Like I mentioned CAS. CAS is a fantastic project. I use it every day via the credit card. Noble's awesome too, USDHL. We have another one coming in the fall called Game Dollar. That's going to be built on Sui, and it's with a company called Playtron. They're building a new gaming operating system that you can install. It's open source, it's free, and the base currency of that entire operating system is going to be a thing called Game Dollar, which is powered by M0. So yeah, I mean, I could list all day, but go to our website, look at our partners. That's who I want to support.
And then last one. What do you think the theme is for this summer? Is it about stablecoins? Is it about decentralized AI? Like, there's a whole bunch of things going on right now. What in particular do you think this summer's about?
Well, so I mean, if we're looking outside of crypto, like obviously AI is stealing the stage. It's progressing at such. I probably talk to ChatGPT more than I talk to any human now, which is crazy. That was not the case even a few months ago. So it's progressing exponentially. But within limiting it to the crypto space, I think what we're seeing is TradFi start to really grasp the concept of stablecoins. They don't get it yet, by the way. Like, they still, like, right now it's, I see Tether making this many $1 billion and I need to know how that works. But that's the first step to getting things going. And I think what it's doing is, especially with the Genius Act passing, it's legitimizing the business model. And it's great for us too, because now, even if we're not going to go serve banks and stuff, because they don't really have anything useful to do with a stablecoin, in my opinion, we can reliably start to serve people that are a little further down the fintech stack, but may have been too conservative to engage in the previous years.
Any thoughts on the Genius Act, which likely is going to get passed here soon, and maybe that's impact on the Web3 economics in the US?
We are big fans of the Genius Act. We were really supportive of it from start to finish. We think the model makes sense. Like, first of all, you're not a stable coin unless you're backing with permissible collateral. And we think the permissible collateral laid out in the bill is very reasonable. So I think it's going to give a great level of consumer protection, especially because up until, I don't think many people know this, but up until now, the concept of bankruptcy remoteness and stablecoin issuers has kind of been iffy. It's really going to go down to like the state that you're issuing from, and there's a lot of subjectivity to it. The Genius enshrines the primacy of stablecoin holders in a bankruptcy proceeding in the law. So I mean, people don't realize what a huge deal that is. Like, that, in my opinion, if you're outside of the window where you're getting FDIC insurance, that makes stablecoins just better than a bank deposit. Like why would you want to be an unsecured creditor to some random commercial bank where you're well beyond the FDIC insurance limit when you can hold a stablecoin where you take primacy in a bankruptcy proceeding? I think Genius is going to really open up the door for like the next $1 trillion to come into stablecoins.
Absolutely. Totally agree with you on that. I think it's the best thing that's going to happen for the US right now, given what's happened the last 4 or 5 years or so with regulations. I think this is a really good start to kick that off and open things up. Greg, this has been fantastic. Really do appreciate you taking the time. Where can people find you as well? Do you have a LinkedIn? Do you have an X? I know you don't tweet that much, but where can people connect with you?
I didn't say I don't tweet that much. I said I shouldn't tweet that much. So I'm G_DIP on Twitter. It's mainly shit posting. It's nothing real. Don't come for the hard hitting takes. I have a LinkedIn. I maybe check it once every 4 or 5 months, so I wouldn't recommend it. Twitter's the better space, and also I'm on. You can just reach me through the website.
Greg, again, appreciate the conversation. Love what you guys are doing with M0. Keep it up. Stablecoins are, I think, the future here. Unfortunately, I hate saying that, but it's really a foundational part of the space, and I think will lead to greater and better things like what we're seeing here today. And enjoy Permissionless. Look forward to talking to you again soon. Keep me updated on everything that's coming out. If there's some more big updates or announcements as well as 2025 goes on, let me know. We'd love to do a part 2. But in the meantime, take care and enjoy.
Thank you so much.